so welcome everybody. Tiffanie Kellog here, and I am excited to be joined by Lisa Demmi, and we are going to be talking about LinkedIn Made Easy. And so what I thought I'd do is I start off tell you a little bit about Lisa and why she's here with us, and then we'll get into how do we make LinkedIn easy. So Lisa is a speaker, coach, trainer, and master egg poacher. She loves social media, and she knows people. She shows people not only how to embrace it, but also how to put it in a headlock and execute a figure 8 on it. She helps companies and organizations leverage social media by creating relationships that turn into prospects and ultimately clients. She also helps others see the power of social media, from the increased awareness to the understanding the best platform for your specific needs and strengths. She still fondly remembers her first tweet and how it changed her journey forever. She's looking forward to helping you change yours. So my first question to you is, do you remember what that tweet was?
Yes, I do actually, because then the thing was, you would say, like, I just joined the Twitterverse or something like that. And people would say, welcome to the Twitterverse. So that was kind of the unspoken rule of Twitter way back then.
Too funny.
Yeah.
And now, social media hasn't been here that long, and already what an impact it's made for us. So talk to us. Tell us about LinkedIn.
So LinkedIn is really, I think it's grown quite a bit in the last few years. It's been kind of the stepchild of social media, I feel like, because it's like the one that people are always like, I have a LinkedIn, but I don't do anything with it. And I think in the last few years, you've seen that LinkedIn has gotten a lot more robust, has a lot more tools. It's kind of mirrored itself a bit more like Facebook. In my opinion, is the way things work and the way you can exchange content. And so I think in the last few years, it's really become a tool that is super important and very good for getting exposure, creating those relationships. It's a very personal platform, I think, but the way it's personal is not like, look what I had for lunch, look what I'm doing with my kids on Friday night. You have to have a conversation in order for it to work for you.
Now, there's probably tons of things that we can do to make LinkedIn easier. So what should we be doing, or what shouldn't we be doing to really make the most of this platform?
Okay. Well, I see a lot of people misusing LinkedIn, or not using it to the fullest extent, I should say. The first thing I see is that, they're like your most important real estate, so to speak. You've got that big header image on the top, and you've got a profile picture on the side there. What I see is people are not utilizing that header image. You see that they've got that, I think it's like a blue color with the stars in it. That's kind of the default picture that LinkedIn puts in there. And then your profile picture is not an appropriate profile picture. So maybe it's a picture of you, having a beer, and you've got your arm around your buddy, but he's cut off. I think it's really important. Let's talk about the header image first. The header image can have a lot of content in it. It can have your website. It can have your you definitely want to have your brand information in there, because you want to establish right then and there your brand. It can have your phone number, your email address. It has to have something that's aligned with either your brand or your company or your organization, because if not, that's just wasted space right there. So put that in, because when I see someone just putting in who has the default image with the blue, people are having a hard time hearing me.
Yeah, can you turn it up at all? I know you checked earlier.
Yeah, I think I'm all the way up.
Yeah, I guess a couple people are, yeah.
All right, I'll sit right on top of my mic.
Oh,
is that better?
That's much better.
Okay, so I'm just going to be right here.
Hey, we're getting nice and, up close and personal.
That's right. I think when I see that blue default image on the LinkedIn header, automatically I'm taking points off. Because it either says to me that they don't know the platform that well, and I'm not sure it's going to be a really great way for me to make a connection with them, or it says that they just can't be bothered to fill in all the details in the spaces. So either way, I typically don't have a great first impression if they don't have that. With the profile picture, it should be a professional picture. In Facebook, you can get away with cropping someone out of the picture, or holding a beer, or, wearing whatever, a ball cap. I mean, unless you're a baseball player or a beer maker, you probably don't want that to be your picture.
Wait, so I don't want to take a selfie like in my car with my
No,
seatbelt on to put
no.
there on LinkedIn.
No, no, you don't. But I'm going to tell you what, Tiffany, the iPhones are really great. They take great pictures. So if you set yourself up against a nice clean wall with a nice, outfit and some decent lighting, you can probably get a pretty decent picture to put in your profile. That being said, I definitely think it's worth the time and the expense to get a handful of those profile pictures, because what you want to do periodically is rotate them. Every time you put a new profile picture in there, anyone who's connected to you gets a notification. Hey, Lisa put in a new profile picture. Maybe it's enough of a reason for them to come back and take another look at your profile.
And does it need to be a different picture each time, or could you like rotate them every? And how often should we rotate them?
So there's not going to be one rule fits all, but I would say, maybe once a quarter, once every other month or so, and just have it be a different picture. You're in a different pose, you're in a different shirt, you're smiling, you're serious, whatever shows your personality and your brand.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Like whenever I do a photo shoot, my goal is not like one headshot. I'm like, okay, let's pick, 5 or 6. And it does help if you have an amazing photographer. And so I'm like, I end up with like 5 or 6 pictures. And so that's a great use. I can just kind of rotate them through.
Absolutely. Plus, like, you take the pictures with the socks, and that's like part of your personality. That's part of your brand. I
Yeah.
love that. People, like, they might not remember your name, but they'll be like, oh, she's the one with the socks.
That's the goal. And so actually in my profile picture and my header, both of those actually have socks in them to make sure you've got the branding going on in it.
Yeah. So those are the first two things that I see people using the wrong way or not using, in this case. Just if you do that, then you've beaten probably half the people on LinkedIn, because most people don't use it properly.
Gotcha.
That's the first thing. The next thing is, I think people put in, the next part of that real estate is your title or your description. And a lot of people put president, or a lot of people put owner, or they put marketer or something like that. Like, you were laughing when you said master egg poacher.
Right.
Well, I'm a self-proclaimed master egg poacher, but put something in there that's going to grab people's attention, that's going to say something about what you do. So mine says speaker, coach, author. So
Okay.
right there, that says what I do. And then the master egg poacher is thrown in there because I want to catch people's attention. I can guarantee you, well, I shouldn't. I'm pretty sure there's nobody else on LinkedIn using master egg poacher. I'm just saying.
We're going to have to check it out and see.
But what's cool about that is when people see that, like if I'm trying to connect with someone, or if they're checking out my profile, then that catches their attention. And I cannot tell you how many conversations I've started because they're like, master egg poacher, what's that all about? So they want to know more about me, because they're like, I don't even know what that is. So, you can be creative. You can absolutely have fun if your brand allows for that. If you're like a clinician and you want to be buttoned up, then maybe you don't want to put master egg poacher. But, we're lucky. We can put whatever we want. But make sure, I want it to represent my brand, and my brand is funny, humorous, relaxed. I want people to know that before they even start reading anything. So that's why you should take some time. Plus, people aren't going to be necessarily looking for a president. They might be looking for a referral expert, or they might be looking for a social media expert. I think mine says social media badass. So they might be looking for a social media badass. So you want them to see, right? Like, you only have a few minutes, a few seconds for them to see what they need to see before they jump off your profile. So you want to make sure that you're filling in all of that as completely, as interestingly, and as accurately as possible.
Gotcha. It's kind of like, that first impression of you. And if you pop on there and, if you're not dressed well for the networking event, it's not a good thing. If you're not dressed well for the online networking event with a full profile, you may miss out.
Exactly. You don't want to be, it used to be that I think people collected LinkedIn profiles, much like they collected business cards when you go to a networking event. So you don't want your LinkedIn profile getting thrown in the desk drawer, never to be seen again, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You want it to be remembered. You want people to use it.
Exactly.
Cool. So what else should we be doing to make LinkedIn easy? So we got our profile, we got our picture.
Fill out everything you can. Fill it out. Don't like just put your last, your last job. Fill out your jobs, fill out what you like, fill out the charity organizations, fill out your interests, follow some people, write some recommendations for other people. You never know, like make sure your groups are seen. I think something that a lot of people do that I don't understand is that they lock their profile down. And I think that kind of defeats the purpose. Like they don't like, I like having everybody be able to see who I'm connected to.
Gotcha.
Because I think that says something about me. And when people have their stuff all locked down and they don't, want you to see certain things on their profile, then that makes me go, what is it they don't want me to see?
Gotcha.
So definitely have everything open, but put as much as you can. You never know where that hook is going to be. So, like I went to University of Florida, so I belong to a bunch of Gators groups. Hold on a minute. Here you go. So I belong to a bunch of Gators groups, and I've had people connect with me because they're like, oh, we're in the same Gators group. I don't know that person from Adam, but we're in the same group. If you like networking, there's a million networking groups that you can belong to. If you follow I don't know, Malcolm Forbes, there's a million reasons for people to be able to connect with you. If one of your interests is dog, helping at a dog shelter, put that down. If you've been on the Relay for Life, put that down. You want to make your profile as full and complete as possible so that many people have a reason to want to connect with you.
Cool. Maylin wanted to know, what if you have multiple companies? Do you make a profile for each company?
No.
What should we do?
I put them all on your thing because you can say that they're present. You can still say that it's your present or your present company. I think it's confusing when you have separate. First of all, I don't think it's. I think it's against LinkedIn's guidelines to have more than one profile. Secondly, I think it's confusing when you have several profiles. Maylin, what are the businesses related?
No, they're not. So her and her husband have an air conditioning company,
Okay.
and then she's also a Pampered Chef consultant. And I'm not sure if you have other things, Maylin, that you were thinking of. I know those two.
So those are two very different things. In that case, I think maybe what I would do is create a company page for her Pampered Chef, and then share from the company page to her personal profile periodically. Unless like which one gets her the more business, which one is the one she wants to get more exposure, then that would be the one I'd highlight in the profile because they're both so very different.
Well, and also she has a women's ministry that she does. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So those are three very different things. I think I would choose one. I don't know which one brings you the most money or which one you want to get the most exposure for. I would choose that one and have that be the highlight, like have that be the main thing on your profile. And then you can still list the other two. But I think what I would do with the other two is give them a company page and share content from the company page to your personal profile. I think it would be less confusing that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, what's your thought on accepting requests when people send you the requests and say, will you, it's not a friend, but will you connect with me? Do you accept them all? Do you accept only the people you know? What's your...
Back in the day, I used to accept everything because I was just so dang tickled that someone wanted to connect with me. But now I'm a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a little bit more wary.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people want to sell you stuff. And a lot of people are just collecting those profiles. So what I do is I do my homework when I get a request from someone. I go and I check them out. And I see first thing I do is I see who do we have in common. That's the first thing I do. The second thing I look to see is how active are they. If I can see their profile, how active are they on the platform? And then the third thing I do is like I'll go check out something about. So like if they have a company listed, I'll look up the company website. I'll see who they are on their company site. I want to make sure they're legit because I think we've all gone down that path where someone connects with you and you say yes, and 5 seconds later they're sending you a, hey, why don't you try my service or my business? And that I just, we're all there. Yes, I get that we're all trying to make our businesses better, but that's not That's not the right way to do it, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
So I don't think you have to like everybody. If someone's not connected to me at all, like if they're not a second or third connection to me, I probably am not going to connect with them.
Gotcha.
Only because I'm like, why are you here? Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
So no, I don't think you have to connect with everybody.
Okay.
You can absolutely say no.
All right. And, for those of you here on this live, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box so we can ask Lisa to give us the answer. So give us another tip, if you will, on how to make LinkedIn easier.
So something else, since we're talking about connections, you've got to make connections as well. And LinkedIn has a very easy thing where you can just say, hey, I'd like you to join my professional network, and you can connect with someone. What I'll tell you stands out for me is, again, if you do just a little bit more homework, and like say you and I weren't connected, Tiffany, and I wanted to connect with you, I'm going to find out who you're friends with, that I have also mutual friends. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check you out and see what's going on, so that when I connect with you, I can say something not personal, but something that lets you know that I did a little bit of homework. So I might say, wow, Tiffany, I'm really interested in your referral institute. That looks really great. It looks like you're a lot of people. I'd love to chat with you. Would you be more inclined to accept an invitation from me?
Yes.
That way?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so those other ones don't stand out at all. I won't tell you I don't accept those kind. I do. But when someone takes the time to say, that's where the master egg poacher thing comes into play again too, is they'll say, master egg poacher. But what I really love when someone takes the time to check out my website or to check out the rest of my social media to see what it is I'm all about before they connect with me, because then there's already a point of connection before we even exchange anything. So I definitely, when you go to connect someone, you'll see that you can either just send the connection, or it'll say personalized invite. Click the personalized invite, take 2 seconds to write a one-liner after you've checked them out, and write something that isn't so formal and doesn't represent you at all.
Gotcha. Cool.
So that's the next thing I would do.
Excellent. Couple of questions. Martha wants to know, how do you manage LinkedIn when you have limited time?
So I will tell you, I do have LinkedIn on my phone, and there are pockets of time all day long. I am starting to be, well, not starting, I have been using LinkedIn quite a lot more in the last few years, but there are pockets of time when I'm sitting in my car waiting for, in the drive-through, when I'm in the doctor's office sitting in the lobby. There are pockets of time that I have that is long enough for me to jump in there and accept a request and say thank you, or to respond to someone who's commented on something. You don't have to spend all day on it, but if you can spend 10 minutes on it a few times a day, then you should be okay.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah. It's funny, the LinkedIn app, I didn't have it for a while, and then I had it, but I didn't know my password, so I had to reset it. And it's so much better now than it was a couple of years ago.
Oh,
and LinkedIn as an overall platform has really improved, because they were kind of dipping down a little bit, but they've really come back strong.
Yeah. And the app makes it a lot easier to stay in touch.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Kelly would like to know, what is the difference between a business page and a personal page?
So a personal page, it's like the same thing that's with Facebook. So your personal profile, I absolutely think that's where all the magic is in LinkedIn. That's where the conversation takes place. That's where you're actually speaking to another person. Your business page lives off of your personal page, but is typically all business related. And I have found that not as much interaction happens on the business page as does on the personal page. So your business page is like, if you have a bucket of just business information, your personal page, you'll share some of the business information, but that's where the conversation takes place. And I think that's where the strength of LinkedIn is.
Gotcha. So you mentioned doing some posts and stuff like that earlier, and what kind of posts are appropriate? Because you said, you're not talking about, the Friday evening with the kids, or the here's what I had for lunch. So what kind of things would be beneficial, would be, I don't know if productive is the right word, but would be a good use of our posting? Like, what kind of stuff should we post?
So I think it depends on your brand, and I think it depends on the personality of either you or your organization. So I post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn that I think most people would be like, why are you posting that? But I think the best use of LinkedIn is think about it as a really great communication / relationship tool. So you want to post things that are business related, that talk about your services and your offerings, but you also want to post things that are going to encourage conversation, that are going to get a response out of people too. You hope nice response, but it's like the stuff that I post a lot of motivational stuff on LinkedIn. And most people wouldn't do what I do, but it is part of my brand. Like, I typically think really great when I get out of the gym. So I'm usually have a ball cap on. I put on makeup and did my hair for you today, Tiffanie.
I appreciate it. I know this is like, you're supposed to be staying home, and I'm like, oh, awesome. Don't have to wear pants or do your hair and makeup. And then I'm like, oh, this is, I think, my 6th hour on Zoom today. I'm like, now it's like, oh, so much for no hair and makeup.
But I think, I post things that I post a lot of motivational stuff, but I also I use a lot of video. I think video is really the easiest way for people to get to know who you are. If we're talking about making a relationship with someone, they can get something about you from a blog post or a share, but doing what we're doing right now, people are going to be like, Jesus Christ, Lisa talks with their hands a lot. And, so they're getting a sense of who I am, how I communicate, a sense of who you are, how you communicate. And I think that makes people go, I either like her right now or I don't like her right now. And I'll tell you what's really funny is people are like, yeah, but what if they don't like me? So here's what I always say is, I'd rather find out they don't like me right now before I set up a coffee and another call and another coffee. And now I've spent 5-6 hours to find out that I'm not a good fit or they're not a good fit. And that's not me being jerky. That's just me saying, I realize that time is important and I want to respect their time as much as I want to respect mine. So I think them to know me now.
Yeah, it's like, let's be who you are, because why invest time in this relationship if it's not going to go anywhere?
Exactly.
Sometimes I think people don't realize that business relationships are a lot like personal relationships. Let me be upfront with what's going on, because if you're on a first date and you want kids and the person you're with doesn't, like, let's get that out of the way and out in the open, because if it's not going to be a good fit, there's no point in us continuing on with this. Let's save our time.
Absolutely. And that's why I think being authentic is so, like, I think people used to feel like LinkedIn was a really formal platform, and it still is, but I feel like it's more, you can be, and I don't mean to be using a buzzword, but you can be more authentic. You can be yourself, and the video allows you to do that. And across all platforms, you should be using video. But LinkedIn does have, you can go live on LinkedIn. You have to use a third-party streaming app. I use StreamYard, but you have to, you can do it. I'll tell you what I do is I typically, what I found to work for me is I'll record a video. It might be a Facebook Live. It might just be a video that I shoot on my phone, but then I will upload it directly to LinkedIn. I don't upload the YouTube link.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's another thing that you want to do if you're using video. If it's short enough, if it's too long, then you have to upload the YouTube link. But by and large, you're not going to be talking that long. So
people don't want to watch 3-hour videos,
no.
Unless it's like Star Wars. So Teresa has a question. She wants to know: is the premium on LinkedIn worth purchasing?
Okay, so I'll tell you, I don't have the premium. That being said, I have friends who have the premium and they love it. There are it gives you a lot more capacity that you can use on there. It allows you to see a lot more than you can see with the standard, but I've had the standard for probably the entire, I don't ever think I even had the premium for free when, how they say, hey, you want the premium for free for 3 months? I don't even do that. I'm perfectly happy with the free version, and I have no issues with it. That being said, the premium is not a bad thing. I just don't, I haven't had to use it so far.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So question, I think Carolyn is suggesting. So Carolyn said, if you are deep into your business and want Sales Navigator, then go for it. Free is what she recommends for the people that are in the Speakers Academy.
Yeah. Carolyn's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's say I've got 5 or 10 minutes a day to pop on LinkedIn. What should I do first, second, maybe third, depending on my
Okay.
time? Like, what's a good
So
use?
here's what I usually do is I'll go through and see who's having a birthday or who just got a new job or who's having an anniversary. I absolutely use that on LinkedIn because I think it's a touch point. And even if those people don't know you, they'll see your name if they're active on LinkedIn. They'll see your name. So, but what I don't do is I occasionally, if I'm in a hurry, I'll just use the standard happy birthday, happy anniversary. If I really know the person, then I'll say, "Hey, Carolyn, happy birthday. I hope you're not wasting time watching an Alabama football game." So I'll say something like that. Love you, Carolyn. And some people you can actually start a conversation that way because they're like, "Oh, thank you so much." So be meaningful about how you're going to do that. That's the first thing I do. The second thing I do is I will post something for me on my profile. And then the third thing I'll do is I will start reading the timeline to see how I can interact with people because it's not just about what content I'm pushing out. Remember, it's a conversation. And I want to make sure that I'm contributing to other people's conversations as well as them contributing to mine. So those are the first three things I do. Now I can get sucked into LinkedIn and start seeing what everybody's doing, but I try not to do a drive-by where I'm like, love, hand clap. Oh, that's a great idea. I try to be intentional. I try to be thoughtful about how I'm doing it. I'd rather have the quality interaction than just a like. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carolyn said, I use it globally. For instance, China doesn't use Facebook. They use WeChat. So LinkedIn keeps me connected professionally globally.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Carolyn would know. Yeah.
And I think one of the things about LinkedIn as a platform, it was more formal, and it still is more formal than, say, Facebook or Instagram. But Facebook and Instagram aren't positioning themselves as a business network. To
Right.
me,
Well,
LinkedIn.
it depends on the business.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I
we
would
can.
say overall, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can use Instagram and Facebook very business way, but to me, it's not the way. It's not the only intention for it.
Right. Right.
All right, y'all, last chance if you've got any questions, because I'm out of questions here. So I'm going to turn back to Lisa and ask her what else we should do for make LinkedIn easy. Though if you have more questions, please let us know. So any other tips you have for us, Lisa, on LinkedIn?
I do. So I think people get the content side wrong. They on all social media, but particularly on LinkedIn, because again, it's looked at as more of a business platform. And I think, the thing that I always say when I'm speaking is I ask people whoever fast forwards through the commercials when they've recorded something, or who gets up and goes and gets a drink when the commercial's on, or who orders streaming without commercials so they don't have to watch the commercials. So think about all the times you're avoiding commercials in every other facet of your life. Do you think they want commercials on LinkedIn or social media? No, we don't. So you do have to still talk about yourself, but I always say let that be 20 or 25% of your content. The rest of it can be things around your content. So the people like, yeah, but I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, all right, well, what are the 10 questions you get asked in your business over and over and over and over again? So like realtors, let's ask you, what do you get asked all over and over again, Tiffanie?
Oh, who would be a good referral source for me?
Mm-hmm. So there's a post. Okay.
Yeah. How do I get more referrals?
Post.
What's your program all about?
Yeah, exactly. So you can use your clients or your prospective clients even to get as much information to create your post as possible. But then the other thing that you can do is, it's like realtors, they obviously they're going to talk about selling houses, but they can talk about credit. They can talk about insurance. They can talk about curb appeal. They can talk about moving. They can talk about pets being moved. There's so many things you can talk about that aren't actually what you do, because now you're positioning yourself as the expert or as the credible source. The other thing, if your business will allow it, is entertaining people, because we go online to be educated or entertained, right? So if you can entertain people and educate them, boom, right? So I think, people forget that they don't always have to talk about themselves. We live in Tampa, Florida. Well, you and I live in Tampa, Florida, where so much goes on. And even like in the times right now, some of my clients are like, yeah, but what do we talk about with the coronavirus? And I think it's people are uncomfortable to still sell, but people are still doing business.
Yeah.
There's a respectful way to do it. And I've had probably every single one of my clients has spoken about or posted about coronavirus and how it may what they're doing to put people at ease with their businesses if they're still open and essential businesses, or maybe what are some resources they can share, whether it's City of Tampa government or the World Health Organization. There are all kinds of things that you can do that absolutely have nothing to do with you, that are proper to share. So that's the first thing, the content side. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Couple questions for you.
Okay.
Do you use for lead generation?
Do I use LinkedIn for lead generation?
That's what I assume she means.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what I do. I never really look at social media as a lead generator. I look at social media as a relationship builder, which, I mean, if you take it down the road, yes, it's going to be a lead generator, but I prefer to package it as a relationship builder, because then I'm looking at my content in a different way. I'm looking at it and what do I want to know about you? How can I understand you more? How can we create a relationship digitally so that we can take it offline? Because I want to know who you are. There's that people want to know who you are before they do business with you or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm probably
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes. So, for those of you who know me, you see all the stuff I post on social media, what you're getting before you see me. And there's a relationship or there's not. So I think, be yourself, post information that's going to have people want to know more about, like even for instance, like, and I think this is appropriate to post on LinkedIn is, I had a business many years back called Lab 3 Marketing, and my business partner was she still is Lauren Jarrett, but at the time she was my business partner, and I'm a Gator, she was a Seminole.
Oh
We
yeah.
used to post something every year when the Florida State game would come on, and it went on all of our platforms, and it was like, one of us trying to beat up the other one because it's entertaining. And remember, we talked about that hook. So what would happen every year is half the people would be like, look, like all the smart people would be like, oh, go Gators. And all the not so smart people would say, go Seminoles. But it was content, and it had people get to know us a little bit more. It gave us a chance to, kind of let our hair down a little bit, and it gave people an insight to who we were.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Martha wants to know, can you explain what you meant with timeline?
Oh, okay. So your timeline, I'm so sorry. Your timeline is like your feed. That's all the people who you're connected with, all the people you're following. So when you go on to LinkedIn and you see that feed, that's your timeline. So that's all the updates that they've been sharing.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Good
No,
question.
you're good. Teresa wants to know, what about writing articles instead of doing the video?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you don't want to just do any one of anything. You want to do video, you want to do articles, you want to share posts, you want to share graphics, you want to share, sometimes you won't even want to share content from someone else, provided that it's a reputable source. Because let's say, if you're a realtor and you share something from Keeping Current Matters, that's a very reputable real estate source. So if you're sharing a content from them that agrees with something that you've said, that makes you look more credible, or it backs up your opinion or your perspective. So you want to share all of it. So yes, writing an article, putting in the pictures in the article, indent and make the letters bold and the whole 9 yards, because you want there to be action in that article. Absolutely.
Cool. Teresa wants to know, I'm interested in having you do a session for a women's group I'm an organizer for. Could you do that via Zoom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And she said we can chat offline, but
Okay.
it was a question. That's the last question I have right now, I think. If you've got some more tips for us, or if anybody else has questions, pop them in there.
I do have, so the other tip is I want you guys to make sure there's two things. There's consistency and conversation. You've got to be consistent in your, like, you can't just jump on once a week and expect you're going to get lots of meaningful connections. So you do have to put some time into it. It doesn't have to be all day long. You can go in there, like little 10, like I said, 10-minute chunks a few times a day and be really great at it. And then the other thing is conversation. The conversation is what's really crucial. If the magic in social media is the social part. And with LinkedIn particularly, it's in those personal profiles. That's where you're going to have the conversation. You can take it offline and have, via messages. But what I would even suggest is once you've conversed via LinkedIn a few times, have a phone call. Social media isn't the end of it. That's not where it ends. Yes, I understand we're all, quarantined right now and we can't have those conversations, but you can get on the phone, you can do a Zoom chat. When everything when the dust settles, then you can go and meet for coffee. But right now, Teresa was asking if we can do Zoom. We've all converted to doing these kind of presentations. People still need content. They still need help with their businesses. We still need to have that human connection. And this is the best way to do it without, putting anybody in jam. I don't have to yell at you from 6 feet away. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect time I mean, Zoom is so easy. And for those of you on the call and you don't have a Zoom account, all you have to do, it's free, and you can do, I think, 40 minutes. It's like a 40-minute time limit, but that's perfect for a quick cup of coffee where you can connect with somebody you met on LinkedIn to get to know them a little bit better. Yep. And my goal is, I think we should call them Zols, Zoom plus call. So Zol. So that's my goal. I want people to start, we're going to call them Zols. Yeah. So, our Zoom chats.
Yes. You can have a virtual cup of coffee. You can have, I'm going to be on a virtual happy hour tomorrow with one of my networking groups. So there's so much you can do, given that we're stuck in our houses right now.
Yeah. Technology is great because we have the opportunity to see each other. So we got some things going on that, isolation is great because we're learning lots, but that is all the questions that we have.
Okay.
What else do you want to share with us?
I do want to, so I want you guys to know that LinkedIn is not the, like the grandfather anymore. LinkedIn isn't the old guy sitting in the corner who, barks out something every now and again that everybody goes, oh, that's just grandpa. LinkedIn is a very robust, very important, really great tool to use. If you're, everybody who's on this call, if we're not connected, you should definitely connect with me. And if you're not connected to Tiffanie, I'm pointing at her right now, you should connect with Tiffanie because, listen, people want to help. If there's someone, and like we were talking about with the connection lists being hidden or not, my connection list is open for everyone to see. I don't care if you know who I'm connected to. I will tell you, there are probably at least a third of them I don't really know. I know them via LinkedIn, or they're one of those people that, we said, let's get connected, and then we never talked again. I'm not on LinkedIn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I will tell you, if you use it the right way, and I think Carolyn can attest to this as well, you will get business from LinkedIn. If you are not using LinkedIn at all, just go in there and just take your sections, populate them. If you want, look at my profile to see how I've got it populated. I'm sure Tiffany's is populated really great. I know Carolyn Quinton's is. Look at our profiles and see what we've done, but realize that you can't just like set it and go. You have to see what works best for you. You have to monitor. Just because something works great for me or Tiffany doesn't mean it's going to work great for you, but just play. You cannot break the internet. I promise you. We're trying to do that right now with all of us streaming, but you can't. So just go in there and have fun and don't be so worried about it.
Cool. Maylin said, I have been in LinkedIn, but I haven't done nothing in years. So now's the time to go freshen it up. And I think that's a good recommendation for everybody. If you haven't taken a look at your profile and like recently, go check it out and see where it's at, what needs to be updated, what changes you might want to make. She's like, I'm trying. Nicole says, thank you. Anything else, Lisa?
Oh, there you are.
Oh,
You were gone. You were like this.
oh, it always freezes at horrible times. So anything else that you got that you want to share with us, or we've got about 5 minutes to that? Not that we have to use all 5 minutes.
No. I mean, I just think just don't be afraid of LinkedIn. It's not a big scary monster. If you post something that you posted something wrong, you can delete it. Just start off small. You don't have to be in there 27 times a day. Just go in there once a day. Connect with me. If you have questions, I'm happy to respond to you. If we can, communicate via message or however, I'm happy to help you. I think that you're really missing out if you aren't using LinkedIn. I think it's a really great business tool anymore.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
So Lisa Demmi, you can see her name on the screen, Lisa Demmi, Demmi. You can go on LinkedIn and find her, or you could put in Master Ed Poacher and see if anybody else comes up with that, or if she is truly the only one.
Let me know.
Yeah, I know. I'm interested to see. And I'm also thinking, oh crap, what does my LinkedIn profile look like? It's time for me to go double check and make sure it looks good.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for your time today. We really appreciate you sharing, answering everybody's questions. People are saying how helpful this was. Thank you so very much. We so appreciate it.
My pleasure. Hey, and you guys be safe out there and don't do anything stupid.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. Happy Friday. Thank you so much. See y'all soon.